What's going on, everyone? Juicebacks here, and welcome back to some Dungeon Defenders 2 and another Springfora era Hero Spotlight. Now, today we're going to take a look at the Lazy Huntress DPS. Just like the Lazy EV2, you guys know left click only is something that I'm just kind of hooked on now, and I always seem to pursue these builds using none of the abilities. Now, to a lot of people that makes it all less fun, but like particularly for me when I'm live streaming, it is nice just to be able to spam left click and not have to worry about anything else, and it allows me to pay attention to chat. Anyway, this build, you can pretty consistently get well over 4 million DPS. I've seen spikes up in the 6 and 7 million DPS era for just left click, no pet, no nothing, no boosts, no buffs, no love at all. You can definitely dish it out. And you see over the course of, say, 10 seconds here, we are very easily able to sustain well over that 4 million mark, almost to the 5 million mark, actually, just with the left click. Now, of course, when you go ahead and throw your pet ability into the mix, oh yeah, it's going to raise that right through the roof, and you're going to just blaze down absolutely anything coming your way. Playing in a group with a monk friend with some proper defenses that are going to boost your hero damage, you can get well over that 20 million DPS range, which of course that's going to burn down anything that's currently in the game, even on 4-player, just in a matter of seconds. So quite the beast mode on the Huntress left click only. Now let's take a look at the build. Now first off, this is not my favorite shot type. Scatter shot. A 4 per second scatter shot will give you the highest DPS numbers using this build. However, I personally don't really care for it. So let me go ahead and pull the shards out of there and get the bow out that I use. I personally like the Penta 2 shot type the best with the 5 projectiles. Let's get those shards back in there. I'm using charged shot and fiery brimstone. I'll get to those more in a minute. Now, I'm not going to do as much damage now, but I'm still over 3 million DPS, so there's nothing for me to really complain about quite there. I can use a shot type that I personally enjoy more and still maximize the amount of DPS you can get out of it. Now, it's not going to be as high as the scatter shot, but I'm also going to be able to hit stuff from over here and not have to get right on top of it to still be effective. Now, of course, the closer you get, the more projectiles are going to hit the single target and the better results you're going to get. However, you can still burn down flyers from range, no problem, shoot into packs coming up, and do a nice bit of damage to the pack itself. So let's go ahead and take a look at the shards. There's essentially 2 shards that are required for this build. The first one being Fiery Brimstone. Now this is an endgame build, so these shards are only available in Chaos 7. Fiery Brimstone is just beast, and in fact on every single hero that you want to do a left click build, Fiery Brimstone is gonna really be mean for you. So you're gonna want to make sure you get several of those and keep them around. The other shard that is required is Power Gambit. Power Gambit, of course, just mean as hell. Any left click builder should definitely be using this one. Increases your hero damage by 50%, but the damage you take is increased by 20%. Now the damage you take being increased by 20% is not that big of a deal considering how hard enemies are hitting right now. There's a good chance if you get hit by any boss, you're going to get one shot. The 20% doesn't matter. Even if that 20% isn't there, you're still going to probably end up getting one shot unless you're on a tanky type build. Now, the build itself, I do focus pretty heavily on hero damage. I go hero health on every piece. I do have the one piece here, as you see, the gloves that have hero crit damage on them. However, absolutely everything else is hero damage, hero health, and this is definitely a strong hero damage build. Now, I'll do a quick look through all of my shards. However, you can use any shards in this particular build. The only required, of course, being Fiery Brimstone. For the sake of the demonstration, I'm using Charged Shot. If you were lucky enough to get yourself a Lightning Touch before it went away, Lightning Touch is definitely a very strong one to use in combination with this build as well. On the helmet, I'm going Worm Scarf and Electric Retribution. Worm Scarf will actually wipe out a lot of that additional damage that you're going to take from Power Gambit, so definitely nice to have. Of course, we already mentioned Power Gambit, and I've got Bulwark in the mix there on the chest. Beacon of the Storm and Critical Strike. Now, Beacon of the Storm actually just does a small amount of damage, but it's consistent damage that's nice to have, and it does hit stuck bosses. So Beacon of the Storm I always roll with just to make sure I have some way to deal with the stuck bosses when they come up. Hero Crit Chance. I didn't put this one as a required shard for this build, but it is pretty important. Obviously, crit damage on defenses and heroes is such a big deal right now. You always want to maximize the amount of crit chance that you have, and as you see here, I'm right at 40%. On the boots, this is basically what I use in every hero. Speed boost, huge quality of life. Got to have your speed boost, as it makes getting around the map to do builds and everything else much nicer. Now on the Ascension, it also falls under the kind of generic hero DPS Ascension. The very first thing you would want to max is your hero crit chance in the utility category. Once this is maxed, everything else put it in wherever you want. Now I'm not using any abilities on this hero, so I did not take the increased ability mana. However, I always take movement speed for the quality of life, and I put everything else into hero crit damage. The defense category we're not using at all, as I won't be building any defenses on this hero. And in the offense, as I've said in every one of these videos, dead heroes do no damage, so I put 50 points into hero health just to get me up a little bit higher, and then everything full-blown into hero damage. As I mentioned, I'm not using any of the abilities, so I have no interest in putting any points into those. Just juicing up that hero damage and getting that number as high as you can get it. With all of my Ascension dumped into it, I'm up to 33,000 hero damage, which is very nice, and gives me the ability to really dish out the pain. And I tell you, this is a really strong build. There's only one reason that I'm not using this as my main DPS right now, and two words for you: double jump. If the Huntress got double jump, I would be on the Huntress all day long, as it is a lot of fun to play with this lazy Huntress DPS build. So that will do it for now. Thank you for watching. Click that like button and please subscribe to the channel. I'm hoping that we get some update news as far as what's coming up next here pretty soon, but we will see. Of course, Friday is here tomorrow. If we don't have news by Friday, then of course we won't have any till next week, but hopefully we're going to hear some of the goodness that's about to come our way. Thanks again. We'll see ya.